Li Ping, when first introduced into Detentionaire, is shown as a well-skilled martial artist, weapon expert, a ninja, and a pawn of Cassandra, taken away from his actual family. Li shows this when he takes on multiple Tassel Worms, which not only shows his prowess, as Tassel Worms are insanely agile, upgraded due to the technology put inside them, and are a huge problem for the students. The fact that Li can outmatch multiple of them with just a staff is insane. It shows his skill, discipline, and combat skills, putting him as a deep threat in the Detentionaire universe. If we do see this scene a bit further, Li has a yin-yang Tassel Worm necklace. Now this is interesting because it signifies his origin, but also signifies his innate, calm nature, and his balance in combat due to his blue and red colours as well. However, it signifies a lot of things which we'll touch on later in the series. Speaking of origins, Li is not just an agent of Cassandra and the Council, but he also has his own motivations and isn't completely brainwashed, which is a significant theme throughout the show. Although he is a pawn, he has his own mind, he's an individual and he has his own goals, wants and needs. For example...
What the? What? Who's there? Who are you? And hey, that's mine!
We see he's very agile and able to slip through things, and uses the perfume like typical ninjas to stun Li. He looks through Li's family home, almost as an excuse to get the key, alluding to the true origin of the Li Ping family, the mystery, the lies, the rough past, and what it's hinting to. Maybe that was Cassandra's plan all along, to bring more hatred towards Li and the family, but in turn that sparked that curiosity to find its real origin. The journey of discovering, the journey of finding his true self and what was taken from him. Maybe it's also a form of control, to not go into the unknown and to stay loyal to Cass, while instead it inflicted more doubt.
Rat Pack, welcome.
And you are?
Me? I'm talking.
Biffy's dialogue also shows what we're thinking. Who is this guy that we saw from the dance? He is a mysterious character in how he acts and speaks, reflecting Li's own family, his origins, and later in that series, with hindsight that his life is a gamble, which will be talked about later. But this gambling is also indicative of Cassandra's upbringing with money, power, as casinos are usually seen as a symbol of those things, which were probably given to him for being her pawn. Casino owners are typically confident, which Li is full of. Speaking of how he speaks, it's clear he has an accent, which could indicate his true origins down the line, either from being from a different place, or speaking another language.
Is braised narwhal liver with fried aardvark.
Okay, Olga's scared now.
He also has material prepared. He's done research on Li's friends, not only to build a psychological profile to leverage their weaknesses, but to know that he's always watching. He has the power to mess with them specifically, and yet he can also see what he's missing out on in his life.
Pick a game. You win, you get the case. Sound fair? So, gentlemen, tell me more about your friend Li. How long have you all been friends?
Despite being her pawn, he leverages what he did for the council as a way to get information he wants out of Li's friends. He wants more information about Li, very specific information, so he can put his timeline together, where he was born so he knows whether they waited or just replaced him, and his tattoo to make sure and wonder why he didn't have the same one. He also uses the word gentleman in kind of a polite yet condescending tone, which is really hard to pull off. He's an antagonist, but an antagonist with standards.
I'll even make it sporting. Best 2 out of 3. Your choice. Any game.
But he also frames things so they always go his way. Li's friends had to go to him on his turf, do it on his way, on his rules, because he has the power, and he does it so manipulatively. He has a goal, he's very specific, and has a plan to go with that, playing psychological mind games rigged to his own doing, like his casino. Referencing the gambling again.
Looks like you won that round. Good for you.
And so what's the first principle of the houses? They always give you one win to keep you going, to get you baited in, so then you keep playing, so that you don't know it's rigged, but it is in the end, so you'll end up losing in the end.
Dude, we are not gonna— Aha! This one!
And so even on the edge of winning, he still rigs it, and they can't really do anything because he still holds the power.
How about a side bet? You answer 3 questions truthfully, and I don't flip the card.
And so see how the house always wins? Lee had literally no risk. He didn't even have it in his position, using a combination of his manipulation, wits and skills to get what he wanted, to get what he desired, that information, without any risk to what he's giving, making him very smart and very cunning. And so Lee's friends lost out on information while gaining nothing, even if they thought they won in the end.
Only time to look fabulous. When I am through with you, your husband won't even recognize you. 3/4 of an hour, so he gets in just a little past 9:30. Okay.
Something crazy is because he's a ninja, he can just sneak into public places with his confidence, manipulation, and mesmerisms to act like nothing is wrong. He also sneaks into what seems to be normal questions by picking up on the details, saying things like threats with context, and picking up on his dad's routines, but also picking up more information so he gets to know everything better.
Your hair is to die for. What's your background?
Something very unique that I really like is that Lee can cut hair, which makes sense since he is a weapons expert, so he would have transferable skills to be precise with how he cuts hair and be good at his job.
Son. Tickle, tickle, tickle.
Stop that! You know I'm not ticklish!
Maybe it's crazy, maybe it's creepy, but when you really think about it, Lee has a brother, and he's probably reminiscing about what could have been, how his life could have been different, how things could have changed. And so these photos are his way of comfort, the way that he's trying to be happy for his family, for himself, even if he may think these are just used for recon and information.
What is it? Do you see something?
Although Lee spots his brother rummaging through the rubble, you would think it would be a perfect time to capture him, interrogate him, learn more, and exact his revenge. However, surprisingly, he stays silent with a smirk when Cass asks him if he's seen anything, and this is likely because he not only wants to undermine Cass, but he sees Lee is like him, like brother, in that aspect. It also is because he has a plan, a future plan, maybe to take him on himself. But why? He also sees the book and knows it has value about information, which he might use later to his advantage. Lee also has a ton of awareness about his environment. It makes sense because ninjas do need to use their environment to their advantages, using it to stay hidden and strike at the right opportunity since they do have little to no armor, which Lee also has. But it also has benefits to him beating untrained individuals and knowing more information than meets the eye.
It's so fun to make them sweat.
Okay, you got me. What do you want? Come on. Hello? Someone? Anyone?
Make them wait. Suspense building. Oh no, what will they do with me?
Lee sets up a trap for Lee, and he likes making people feel in despair, or maybe it's just because he's his brother. Probably also fun that the execution of his plans is working. It's here that we start to see his superiority mindset, confirming and making fun of his younger brother that he is desperate, maybe even incapable of defending himself, while he himself can. The start of him being better than Lee, going into the mindset that he is strong and that his brother is weak, inferring that maybe his training by Cassandra was the right path for him, making him strong, disciplined, and tough, and making Lee very weak.
That does it! You want me? Come on!
We both know their physical appearances by now, manifesting the physical reflection of who Lee could have been. Although both Lees are rebellious, sneaky, resourceful in their own way, specifically developed through their own experiences, both thrive in being that sneaky and undermining their superiors. It's also reflected in their hair. Different coloured hair in different spots, yet marking that their hair is still coloured. Lee's hair having more colour because he was able to develop himself more in his caring environment, while Lee only has a small strand of blue. He only has a small bit of himself, and it's blue because it's moulded by Cassandra's icy blue strictness, while Lee's fiery red shows how his family is full of heart, compassion, and freedom. Lee is not just fighting his brother, he's fighting a version who he could have been. There is also the necklace, which will be discussed later. It should also be noted that even though Lee doesn't have the best fighting experience, he's still athletic, which further emphasizes that both Lees basically have the same base.
It's not as much fun when I can totally smell you.
Again, both Lees have their quips in their own ways and in different tones. They mirror each other like they're almost alternate multiverse versions of each other.
I should have known a spoiled kid would be no competition. Too much time spent playing video games and drinking rat-a-tat-tat green apple splat. Oh no, a crab. Is that all you... No!
This whole sequence reveals so much about Lee, and even though he has so much confidence, there's small things we can piece together. Lee has been raised and disciplined and isolated, and maybe he's so good at fighting he sees himself, Lee, his younger brother, as a proper match, and maybe he's been open to exploring Lee and his family once he's found out about them, maybe even open to the idea of joining him again, but as he fights Lee, he sees that he's better, a better, more focused, more disciplined version of Lee, coincidentally, better than Lee.
Even half blind, I'm still 10 times the warrior you are, Li Ping!
He can fight better, he has better assets, but maybe he has insecurities because his parents chose his younger brother, even though as the older brother he knows he's better. However, because of this overconfidence, although his combat skills are better, he loses to battle IQ. However, it's almost as if he's trying to convince himself that he is better, but his parents didn't see that. Maybe it's just daddy and mummy issues, and even though he breaks his self-image when he does have the underhand, starting to degrade that icy cold exterior. And so not only did he lose to himself through his overconfidence, he lost to himself to his brother.
Thanks again for helping me out. I think one more time and then we're gonna suspend me or something.
Silly girl. There are far worse things than suspension.
I mean, Lee is able to give all the telltale signs of being a kidnapper, showing all the red flags, even having a second helmet, which is a huge red flag. Like he planned for this to happen, but he does so in a casual, I don't care way that it averts the red flags, subverting all expectations, and seeing that his social manipulation is working and methods of getting lice into the school furthers his own goals. He planned all this so he could break in, thus being a mastermind, right under Cassandra's nose to get even more evidence to further his own objectives.
There is no stand aside for Sidekick Supremo!
What did you do? Spit it out!
Although Lee has tons of training and is almost ready for everything, has so much preparation and discipline, and is relatively smart, something he isn't prepared for is for things that he can't account for, like Holger eating something to deny him that access.
That tickles! What is it?
And here's another example of that. He prepares for everything, but the unknown. He knows the unknowns, but he doesn't know the unknowns. You could say he's an assassin. He prepares specifically and for the smart play, what the normal person would do, not the obvious, out-of-the-box plays. No matter how much Lee prepares, he can't predict for one factor, and that's what his friends would do for Lee. The one thing he doesn't know about, friendship. Opposing someone who has no friends. Holger is loyal to Lee because of friendship, and because of that he's willing to do whatever it takes to deny access and to save Lee's life, anything that would help at all, in contrast to his loyalty to Cassandra, which is already withering.
Hey! What are you doing here?
I forgot to get your number.
What's up?
Figured you might need a ride home.
He's also putting all the pieces together to manipulate Jenny into getting what he wants, not because he truly wants her, but because he potentially wants to beat Lee at having a lover, another twisted version of him saying he's better, messing with Lee's social circle, social life, while forwarding his own goals. He's good at socializing and good at social manipulation.
I'm on my own mission, and I now have all my facts. But how will I use them?
He's also really systematic, using multiple points of confirmation to know his suspicions, and now he's able to make a move. Based on facts, however, deep down, it was based on emotion. Emotion of betrayal, how his life is a lie, and deep down just wanting that love. However, it's likely that without his parents' guidance, his feeling of betrayal from Cassandra, he has nothing and no one else to guide him, and so maybe he takes signs from the world and gambles it with dice to guide his ways for that guidance.
I got my name when I passed my very first test. That was back when I came up with a deadly move called the Serpent Strike. Bitch!
I have a feeling that Lee is a chaotic neutral character, or an unlawful neutral character in that he only wants his own goals and not any other factions. In a way, he teaches the kids a lesson, to be more aware of their surroundings, but in a very mean way. Or maybe he is just mean. Anyway, his invention of the move, the Serpent Strike, also calls how useful his smarts are in a different way than his younger brother. He uses his intelligence to invent something physical, while his younger brother uses it for brain power.
It's my ancient medallion, worn by the greatest warriors, handed down for thousands of years. That's a lot of blood, sweat, and death, my friend. I suppose now you want to know more.
So here's where we get so much information. Not only does the necklace show and is a symbol of how well versed a warrior he is, inventing that move, but it holds a lot of weight about who he is, what he speaks about, and what he emphasizes, and what he's proud of. It smells like sulfur, which can be related to hell or misrepresenting the evil essence of Lee. But as we look at the necklace more, we see tassel worms, the yin and yang. This represents and symbolizes so much. The red and the blue convey those hair themes that we were talking about before, but also the history of the tassel worms. As we see, the blue tassel worms in the show are mind controlled by an artificial outside force, and the red tassel worm is more sneaky, uncontrolled, and undermines evil at any point, symbolizing both of the Lees. It also shows how they are the same person, just a different shade of colour based on their environment and factors that they can't choose, and they just are. Red more vibrant, more fiery, more full of love, and cold representing ice, blue, captivity, and control. They are the same, sneaky and rebellious, adaptable and well-versed, but so different in how they react and are and all their mannerisms, how they were raised and everything of the sort. One raised without parents, one with love, one without, one trained, the other untrained. So they're trained in different ways, but in ways that they fulfill and match each other to. Yet somehow, despite all this, they still act the same and use it in different ways. Yet one cannot exist without the other. Without Lee being born and being stolen, his parents wouldn't have gone on the run and raised a new family, therefore making his brother not exist, being the contrast and being the better half of him. And at the same time, if it was Lee that was born, younger Lee would have become older Lee, therefore inherently linking them and being both sides of the same coin. The necklace isn't just an accessory or a tool, it's an extension of Lee's identity and who he is and what he stands for. It's something he wears with pride, like a medal of discipline or precision, and it speaks volumes to how seriously he takes what he does. Inventing the Serpent Strike can be so advanced. That's a level of mastery we're dealing with. Lee doesn't just follow his training, he perfects it. And it's always going to be linked through destiny, through the books, because of the necklace. How he's always going to be linked towards his brother. How his identity is based because of his brother.
Ha! Happy? What? That you left me out in the middle of wherever in the stupid rain? Ha! Owls are scary, okay? With their big staring eyes and pointy little beaks? Ho 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 ho! And don't you get me started about raccoons!
You're right. I'm sorry. I just wanted to surprise you. I know something that might...
Maybe Lee is trying to experiment what love is and what romance is, and he's experiencing it for the first time. Maybe even attraction. And you know what? What might seem normal to him because of his environment, what's comfortable to him, being left by himself, cold and alone, symbolically shown through the setting, is not the same for how it is for others. Maybe people see that setting as cold an environment and avoid it. It's seen through Jenny saying that he's kinda different, and maybe he sees socializing as transactional and only finds it to get close to her to use her. He sees it as a tool, yet a try on what it's like to be normal, doing the long game of, okay, I don't want to do this anymore at all, this is why I am an assassin. And so he perfects his skill to get the book from Jenny, making his love cold.
Change of plans? Jenny Jerkins? I haven't seen it. Okay. As you wish. Fate saves you again, Pings.
Again, we see this fate business. Maybe he believes it was meant to be this way, he was destined to be this way, and that everything works out to be this way for a reason. Maybe that's the philosophy of the book. Destiny, and that's why he acts fully as he is, and why it's taken so long to break the ties that hold him back, things that has been a detriment to him, yet comfort to him because that's all he's known. Despite trying to work against them, he has to submit to them because he knows he's not powerful enough with the unlimited resources and an ancient foe.
You're so silly! It reminds you of someone you know, doesn't it? Li Ping, perhaps?
Another symbolism of the Tasselworm is the tattoos. While Li's is red, the younger brother's is blue, affirming that symbolization we talked about earlier. To add to that, Li's is red. Red is raw and pure, and in a way directly shows how he had no protection, as well as no protection from his parents. He's also smart in that he knows Li calls him the stink ninja, so he takes off his necklace to not alert Jenny that he is the perpetrator, something that means a lot to him to remain undetected. Which means he's willing to sacrifice his pride for a little bit to achieve his goals, which means his goals are more important at the end of the day.
Jenny, you don't get it. Never have, never will. But I do, and I got it. So ciao, baby.
Being who he is, he was never going to delve into friendships or relationships. It just doesn't work for him, and he's not built like that. He was never built like that. And he was built to be detached and use things for his own gain, because at the end of the day, only he has himself and his own mission and independence. That's what makes him him. That's what he's built his identity around.
Li's parents.
Horgan never tell you! You with your full hair and scary tiger eyes! Li of Pings will save me!
Li breaks into the house and thrives in it like it's his own place, maybe because he wants to belong so bad, but at the end of the day, he does have some sort of ownership because he is family, and it's justifiable why he thinks he belongs there and acts like that.
Let's have that father-son chat we never had. I met this girl. Just kidding. Let's go back further than that. To around this time.
And maybe since he has all the power, he plans on using it to flaunt it in his father's face, unironically giving him the father-son chat they never had to lure him into a false sense of security, confusion, yet calm before the storm.
This is what I wanted to show him. But I can show you first.
1992? But I was born in 1997.
I was born in 1992. Not everything is about you.
And here we see a small change, but it's noticeable. Li starts maybe accepting that Li is not the enemy. He's a byproduct. The real enemy is Cassandra, the people who lied to him, the people that left him, and the system that turned him into a weapon. We can see by his mannerisms he's not even mad at his younger brother, doesn't even blame him. They both just had the cards that were dealt to them, and none the lesser. It doesn't even seem like Li holds it against his younger brother, because in reality, what could he have done? Nothing. And so the blame shifts to his parents. He's frustrated, he wants answers. But it's true, it's not always about the younger brother, and can be about someone else. Even though he's at the center of conspiracies, it can be about someone else, because that's why they're in this situation in the first place. Because of him.
That your father added a tattoo to your birthmark, and you added the same protection to him. But not me. Why was that?
No! It is you.
Dad, what's he talking about?
Now we know the root cause of things, and Li is justifiably right here. Maybe his dad was lazy and didn't put the tattoo of protection on Li. There is so much that we don't know. Maybe Li was traded for the safety of the future of the family. We don't know. All we know is that the younger brother got protection, and because of that, that left Li exposed and a target to be captured and used as a pawn to do the will of someone else, and basically destroyed his life, making it not his own, making it not fair at all. Another symbolic echo of Li's red and Li's blue, now even inked into their skin. The tattoo, which should represent protection and belonging, feels like a cruel joke to Li. His wasn't love, it was full control. And it does bring so many valid questions and frustrations, like why didn't they protect them? Maybe if they loved them enough, maybe if they had the foresight, maybe if they really cared, they would have put the protection on. Maybe they even traded him, and maybe he was a mistake, but either way, it shows that they didn't love him enough or didn't think about him enough to sacrifice themselves, to sacrifice the time and care for him, and in any case, the only answer that he's had this whole time is that it was always fate.
And they didn't even buzz up to say, "Hello, sorry about stealing you away from your family and making you into a warrior of vengeance."
This is the major turning point. He knows everything. He knows everything that's happened. He knows he was kidnapped. He knows Cass had turned him into a villain. He knows he doesn't want to be that. At the core, he must have known who he truly was, but never knew it because of the circumstances. And so that's why he's angry.
Think, Ping, think!
So, got a plan? 'Cause I have one. Hey, don't be trying to eat family.
And because he realizes this, plus Lee's family because of the circumstances and it's not his fault, he decides to help Lee and undermine Cass at the same time. 2 birds with 1 stone. It's everyone else's fault but his younger brother. They are family after all. This is one of Lee's most human moments. He sees the absurdity of the world he was raised in. Family's not something you conquer or test, it's something you nurture and protect, help. And that's where Lee begins to grow.
Priscilla! No! You can mess with me all you want, but no one messes with Priscilla!
Priscilla is his purest emotional anchor. Unlike Cassandra, she didn't manipulate him. She didn't demand anything. Her injury enrages him more than any tactical setback because she represents the one thing that he is. Untainted. When she's harmed, a part of him, maybe the only innocent part of him, is attacked, and that breaks him.
Since he told me I have a real family and you took me from them!
It's the only thing he loves, the only thing he cares about, the only thing he takes care of. And unironically, that breaks him. Unironically, everything that makes him him comes apart with Priscilla, because the only thing he's truly cared about has hurt, and that is his weakness. That is what opens him up and gets him defeated. Ironic, isn't it? As soon as he opens up his weakness, he loses. As soon as he becomes the one thing that he avoids, the one thing that he wants, the one thing that he's missing, he loses. But in a fractured way, albeit a more pure way, he has repeated the cycle. He took care of Priscilla, much like Cassandra trained him. Priscilla was also trained to fight, and through that, that's what got him hurt, and Priscilla hurt, all in the process. He cares about Priscilla, but maybe if he cared more, he wouldn't have brought her. At the same time, he needs her as his comfort pet, and he knows she's capable and they make a good team. He's been lied to his whole life. He has a brother. Why was he taken away only for someone to replace him? He would be such a better person under so much better circumstances. So much of a fuller person. He would have thought differently, been differently if it wasn't for Cass and the kidnapping and his parents' neglect. Priscilla is the sum of everything he has, his comfort, his care, his safe space. And so when Priscilla is hurt, that means so much to him. Priscilla was always there, unmolded by anything but him, so it's a pure piece of him. Probably the only piece of him, not influenced by anything exterior. It is him in a way.
And the girls? Tina and...
Oh, Jenny? Your girlfriend?
whatever. Are they on the sub?
No. They're already in Coral Grove.
But maybe he is a genius after all. Maybe this was his plan to lose on purpose to get as much information as possible because he knows Lee is as capable as he is, doing him a favor to stop all this. He has more resources and friends, and maybe he's read the book and knows what will happen, thereby going with destiny yet again. All of Lee points towards signs that he was a lost brother, a lost family member. The hair, similar build, colours, all small signs as to who he is, yet who he is, his appearance also symbolises him and his brother. All in all, Lee discovers himself through his younger brother. Lee himself discovers his past through himself. They both need each other, yet mirror each other and have revealed so many other things about each other. Lee was in captivity, and yet despite everything, grows and destroys those barriers that have locked him up. He's growing into a better person because he wants to be and knows he can be. And that's Lee.